I don't know.
Good evening. This is a call to order for the Health, Safety, and Facilities Committee meeting. Today's date is Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. The time now is 6:31 p.m. In attendance, we have committee member Albert Benahan. For staff, we have Dr. Avery. Also in attendance, we have board members Robert Traber and Joseph Sokolovic. The first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from September 12th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So move for Mr. Benahan.
Second, so it's been moved by Mr. Benahan. I'll second it. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
All in favor to approve the minutes from September 12th, 2023? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? No. Any abstentions? No. The minutes from September 12th, 2023 has been approved. The next item on our agenda is discussion and possible action for approval for an updated facilities master plan. In attendance, we have some of the staff from our facilities. I'm sorry, now I remember first names and not last names. So we have Mike and Jamie. Yes. And they can give us just an update to the actual process for a updated facilities master plan.
The plan itself is a work in progress, and currently we are working on components that we would like to be part of the RFP process before advertising it.
And so anything else or?
Right now I don't have any other updates, but that's what I've been working on towards the plan. There's a lot of components that go into it, and we're not sure exactly what we want to see as a whole. And depending on what you put into the RFQ, it depends on how much the project will be. Yeah.
Cost.
Okay, so I'll open up the floor first to committee members for questions. And then I'll open it up to regular board members. Any questions, Mr. Benahan?
No question, Ms. Baptiste. Thank you.
Mr. Sokolovic, any questions?
Yes, I know last time we went out and got, this is at about right, 8 to 10 years ago. This can be a similar process, or think.
I wasn't here for the last one, but I believe it will be a similar process. I've looked into other cities and towns in the state that have recently done RFPs for this, and there are newer things, components that were added to theirs. There could be community outreach as part of it. It goes off of number of students, number of population,
and as far as the last master plan, facilities master plan, how much did we utilize it? Did it sit on a shelf? I can't. That's like just prior to my. Sometimes we do things under.
But I believe the last full complete master plan is led to the school construction project, which started with the construction of Batala and ended with the construction of this building.
Okay.
So it
didn't sit on
the true master plan, I believe, was utilized for building program for about 10 years, maybe a little more. And there may have been an update to the master plan done since or during that time also to help to keep it fresh.
Right. And encompassed in this master plan, we'll be looking at right sizing the district.
Yes, well, that's what the consultants will do, is see where the population is, the demographics, the ages of the students, the populations, the age and condition of the buildings, to basically formulate a plan probably for the next 10 years as to what buildings need to be demolished, rebuilt, closed, repurposed, and where they should be.
Thank you.
Mr. Traber? Okay.
Yes. Where can we find that master plan?
We have it at the facilities offices.
Yes, so where can we look at it? We have to come over there to look at it?
We could get you a copy.
I guess that's what I'm asking for, is for us to see it, because, I've heard lots of things over the years about what's next to be worked on. And I'd sort of like to see that. I understood what you said, but how long is Fairchild?
Yes.
Fairchild
I'm
Wheeler?
sorry, you cut off, Mr. Kramer.
I said, how long has Fairchild Wheeler been open?
Yeah,
Feels like 7.
probably. I don't know off the top of my
Okay,
head.
close.
Almost
7.
10, I think.
So,
I think
Approximately 10 years, Mr. Traber.
Right, that's my point, is that when you guys are talking about 10 years, Fairchild Wheeler's been open almost that long. So it sort of, what have we done? We've done things since then, and that would be the amendments that you are referring to. And it's sort of like to see what we've changed over those 10 years. So if it's possible to look, I'd like to see it. I know that when this, later on tonight's agenda, we have the plan to merge Skane and Winthrop. And we have already moved to obtain money to do this, to implement this plan. Years ago, we were told that Blackham would be the next school done. And so that got altered at some point. So I'd sort of like to see what where the changes got made and what's in line to be done. That's part of what we're going to be hiring a consultant to do, but I'd like to see what the old plan said.
okay, we'll get a copy of the master plan and send it to you, Madam Chair. And you can,
And then I'll just make sure it's distributed out to everybody on the board.
okay, yep.
I have a question. So it's almost a la carte of how, like, what we want in the master plan, community engagement. Well, what's roughly like the timeline? I mean, we have to issue RFQ, so someone has to respond, right? So that could take about 3 months. But once we get someone to respond to the RFQ, how much time are we also looking at to actually have a new master plan? It could vary. Or
it could vary. It could be 3 to 6 months from the time we have a panel who could be made up of different members. And once you choose the consultant, then they have to go through the purchasing process, contracts committee. And by the time you get the purchase order, then the consultant would start working on the project itself.
Okay.
It all depends.
That's fine, just to kind of have an idea, because with knowledge of the RFQ, that's going to be, and if someone doesn't respond, reissuing it and fine tuning it, so it can be a timely process. Any comments, questions from anyone else? I don't think we're at this stage. We're definitely not at this stage right now for any action from this committee, but I think it's going to be good to continue to have discussions about this and what's going to be next, and probably just continue to have it, any updates as an agenda item going forward.
Madam Chair. Yeah, just a quick question. I could be wrong, but I think some of the questions Mr. Traver was referring to are in a 5-year capital plan, as far as the schools that are slated for construction up next and going forward.
Well, he asked for the facilities master plan, so I'll send that over. But if it's a construction plan and that's
I
not,
think that's part of it.
we can figure that out, because I don't think the master plan is going to say we're going to work on this building first, and that. It was more like we're going to have this type of HVAC system and this technology, and I can only imagine. So we will make sure that both the prior master plan from 2008 with amendments is sent over to the full board. And then whether it's the decision-making mechanism for information being sent or decisions for which buildings will have projects on it. Mr. Traber, you have a question, a comment?
Well, I guess it would be a follow-up to Mr. Sokolovic's comment, which is I would also be interested in seeing that capital plan then too.
Okay.
Is that doable?
I believe so. I don't.
Yeah, we
I
can
don't
send
know.
that over.
Yeah.
The board has approved it.
Yeah, so that's absolutely fine.
Thank
So
you.
I'll make sure I follow up. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is discussion and possible action for the approval of Reed School Park Improvement Project with Nature Conservancy through spring/summer 2024. So. Oh, yeah, well, come
Yes.
over. My bag doesn't need a chair.
We can, wherever you want us, you tell us.
Oh.
Of course, sit down in the front so we
Yeah,
can
right
see
here.
it
Yeah.
for the record, so we can be.
You want us to sit here?
Yes, everyone,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry to displace you.
Oh, no, no problem.
Okay, cool. Nice to join the
Thank you.
table here.
Good evening, I'm Cynthia Folks, and this is my colleague Drew Goldsman from the Nature Conservancy. So we're here seeking your permission to proceed as one of the approvals required to the greater BOE so that we.
It's a point of personal privilege.
Yeah.
Tell us, raise it. But yeah, can you just raise your voice so that way people at home can hear us?
Yes, absolutely. So we're here seeking approval from this committee so that we can move on to the greater BOE and engage in a temporary construction easement to improve stormwater infrastructure and build stormwater infrastructure at Reed School and Sphera Park. So we've been working for a number of years with the greater Reed School community and the city to develop a plan. We received a state grant, a Section 319 grant, which improves non-point source pollution, and it will improve the health of the Quantic River, Island Brook that runs through the property. And so we are actually, this is one element of engaging with the community to find out what their needs are and priorities are for the park and the school grounds.
Sure, I'll just add a few points. Principal Smith was unable to be here tonight, but she's been a core partner of ours, as has the city engineering department, and Chadwick Schroeder there has been our kind of key point person, but we worked closely with the city attorney's office. Deb Garskoff was on point to help us develop and approve that temporary construction easement. And I just want to also note that kind of one of the complexities of this project is that we're doing projects in both the park and the school. To be honest, kind of the vast majority of the project scope and the budget is going to be in the park itself. So for anyone not so familiar with Reed School and Sphera Park, they're adjacent to each other. And so kind of the majority of the project is going to be kind of a large scale stormwater management project, managing stormwater off of Ezra Street going into Sphera Park. But kind of core to this project over the last decade or so has been the partnership with the Reed School community. And we are hoping again to design 1 to 2 small scale stormwater management systems on campus that can provide kind of address local stormwater issues there, improve water quality, but equally importantly, become another teaching opportunity for the school. And that fits into very much the last 10 years of that work that we've done. And then the last thing I'll add is that we've been doing work, the Nature Conservancy has been doing work in Bridgeport now for this time, including the work at Sphera and Reed, but also doing tree plantings and other projects across the city. And we did a project in the east side at Beardsley Elementary School. We helped develop a stormwater garden there that we've been maintaining and helping the school maintain over the years. And we had a temporary construction easement that helped us do that as well. So yeah, we're thankful to have the opportunity to speak with the facilities committee and the board here tonight, answer any questions and help us move this forward, because then our first big step, we're talking about RFPs here, is this would be put out to bid as a design build project that we would bring on a firm that would work with us and our partners in the city and the school to develop a design, and then subsequently construction of these projects to improve the campus and the park. And the last thing I'll say is that, as Cynthia mentioned, we were able to secure federal and state funds to fund this project, and there's no request for any additional funding from the school board, other than, of course, it being on school property, and long-term maintenance will be, of course, part of the long-term maintenance of the campus, but we are committed to helping develop that maintenance plan and supporting maintenance as we've been working in partnership with the school for the last decade. So we don't anticipate that to end anytime soon.
And one more item that I'll add, if you don't mind, is that the original timeline for this project our description has that it will be spring, summer of 2024. And we have been working for about a year with the city's attorney's office on drafting this agreement, but because of the timing of the committee, so we've already gotten approval from the Parks Commission, and so now we need this approval and then on to the BOE. That timeline has gotten delayed, and so we would say that spring, summer 2024, unfortunately, will not be the actual project completion date.
We are eager to get this project completed as quickly as possible. So we will definitely move it as quickly as we can, but yeah, I think that's just the nature of it.
Okay, thank you so much for presenting. First, I'll start off with committee member Albert Benahan. Any questions?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. And I see, I'm looking them up. I know Reed School, the entrance is I see one of the schools, the entrance going in and out is bad. So it's gonna be not the left side when it's like close to the other buildings. So you're talking about the left side of the school, that big area that sometimes is little, when it's rain, it's flood, it's very badly, it's very bad.
That's correct.
Especially they take days to get dry, so the kids, they cannot go outside.
That's right.
So that's the area you're talking about.
Yeah, so once we hire the subcontractor, they will complete the design, the specifics of the design. And so we have also flagged those locations as potential project locations for the green stormwater infrastructure projects, but the details haven't been finalized. But yes, we hope to be able to address that on the school grounds there.
Yeah, and I'll add, we want this to best support health and wellness of the school, and so we're pretty deferential, to be honest, to the knowledge that you're bringing and the knowledge of Principal Smith to exactly what would be the best location. Yeah. We've talked about the kind of turnaround circle is also kind of a bit of another opportunity if that will remain, and then kind of those edges. So we're not really, to be honest, really wedded to any particular kind of idea of where it should be other than what will best serve the school. And so exactly what you're describing.
I agree with that, because sometimes it's like they have the same interest as it.
It's a trick
that bad, especially the bus, the area you have close to the St. Vincent Hospital. It's an area.
It's a tricky little spot, and that was the whole history of the school and the park is complicated. But yeah, we'll see if we can.
How much money are we talking about this project?
We're all in. We're at about $200,000 for construction, so not a huge amount. And like I said, the majority of that is going toward the Sphera Park side of the installation. So we don't really have it broken down between the school and the park, but the big one will be over by the school. So
when you talk about the grants coming, you ask for that grant for the school, is not coming from the budget from the school, like the school's paying, is that coming from you guys?
That's right.
Correct.
All right. Just want to be sure.
Yeah, it's actually federal Environmental Protection Agency money. So it's EPA money that goes through the state and then to us.
All right, I really appreciate that, what you do for Bristol School. As students, everyone deserves good. Thank you. No more question comments, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Sokolove?
Yeah, just one question. You said the project is delayed. Are we in any danger of losing grant funding of expiration?
Yeah, so far we We're certainly motivated to get it done as soon as possible. So far, the state is aware of the current status. We've been keeping them up to date with reports, and they have not flagged that they are concerned right now, and they understand the complexities of it. But we certainly do feel like it would be in everybody's best interest if we can move it forward as soon as possible.
Yeah, I would love this quarterly report to have, some exciting news to share with them. But yeah, I think, no, I don't, nothing more to add.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Traber?
No question, thank you.
I have a question. Is this any way integrated into the Reed School learning environment about why it's being done when you worked with the Principal Smith, in terms of just like, what's the need for it? What's the impact? That way there's a student learning aspect to it instead of there's just construction in front of the school and in the park?
Yeah, that is a great question. I love that question because our relationship with Reed School over the past 10 years has actually sort of laid the foundation for that sort of conversation with the school. We've done a number of events with the school community where they've done programs in Sphere Park, and then sort of helping with maintenance, but learning about it. And we worked on an outdoor classroom that became an incentive for students when they were doing well in class. The principal was bringing them out to the outdoor classroom. So that's been important to us to develop that relationship between the two locations. We've also been part of larger sort of like green, like Earth Day and Arbor Day events there. And a specific component of this project is to have interpretive signage that describes the project. So I really hope that Ms. Smith and others will, be fully involved. That's our plan, is that this is very much, we're looking for feedback from the school community, neighborhood, and especially Ms. Smith, so that we can make sure that it meets any priority needs that she has.
And then, did you have any feedback from the community so far in terms of families, and then just share it with the public so that way?
Yeah, sure. So over the past 10 years, we've had community meetings a few times a year, and we worked with them to identify their vision for the park, what they would like to see there. And the health and safety of the park actually rose to the surface. So maintaining the vegetation there, both to protect the habitat, it's a forested park, and then also to maintain the health of trees for safety reasons. So the trees that are the boundaries of the school became important. And then things like sight lines from the street so that somebody driving by could see into the woods. That was cited as a need. We've worked on sort of side projects with lighting and making sure that there's somebody that's paying attention to it in the evenings, putting up signs with rules on it. And so these were the priorities and fixing the path that runs through the street, through the park, and then down to the school where the school bus runs was flagged as a big priority for access. And so this project is a piece of that, actually. So maintaining the stormwater so that path is passable all times a year was really important to them. So all of the things that the community came up with actually led to us seeking the grant funding for this project.
Oh, excellent. And then any comment, feedback from facilities team? Nope, okay. Any additional questions or comments? Okay. Any comment, Dr. Avery?
No, I think it's exciting.
Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion. Wait, I have one more follow-up. Because of the delay, is it more around the 24-25 timeline, or is it definitely 2025? Is it?
I think it's been pushed enough that a year, we're probably looking at a year, and especially because of the seasonality of some of the work. And then also we want to make sure that we're not interfering with access to the school. So yeah, I think that a year is probably our safest.
Yeah. I think there is a possibility that by the end of next summer, we can't promise anything, but it does seem most likely that with the seasonality and with the school year starting at, next fall, we would want to then delay, and then we're into winter, and then it would be, so it really just depends on how speedy we can get through our design process. And I do think there are possibilities with the big project over at the park, kind of could be, that will be the biggest project, and some of the smaller ones at the school could be perhaps accelerated, but you really can't promise anything.
So if we put the wrong date, and it's in your minutes, but the wrong date, will we have to come back? I guess that's also.
That was my thought process too.
Or can.
And then I was like, it's a design build project, and maybe the design would want to start at the park first and then the school, depending on.
Yeah, and I
mean.
Not to, could we perhaps, because again, I do think there is a possibility that we could have the school projects constructed by next summer. And if not, we would be happy to come back and in the future, as we get closer to that time, to make any changes to that timeline if needed.
A comment.
Yeah, might I suggest some language on or about or no sooner than, so you don't have to come back?
I was already thinking of leaving it just more open-ended for 2024, 2025.
Yeah, I think
that way,
just make it a bit
no
more
offense,
broad.
Nice meeting you all, but
happy to not burden your agendas moving forward. So if we can just keep it something a bit more broad, that would.
I think.
Yeah, 24, 25.
Yeah, no, I agree with the suggestion from Mr. Sokolovic. I'm going to propose language, Mr. Benahan. If you decide to move it, or if you would like to amend it or change the wording, it's up to you. But I would entertain a motion for approval of the Reed School Improvement Project with Nature Conservancy through the 2024-2025 calendar year.
So move.
I'll second it. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Calendar year.
Thank you. So the next step will be that this will now be advanced to the full board.
This will be
automatic?
advanced to the full board at our next regular meeting, which I believe is November 27th, 6:30 p.m. at the Aquaculture School. And maybe Principal Smith will be available as well.
We'll try to see if she
okay.
can be there for sure.
Get some community members too. They can come.
Absolutely.
Awesome, that'd be great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
You have a wonderful
Thank
evening.
you.
Okay. So, Mr. Benahan, Secretary, I'll make sure I send you over the language that is the calendar year. Okay.
Thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is Richford Board of Education Facilities Presentation.
The presentation is the CompuClean presentation we have today. You have it? Okay. So for this meeting, we wanted to highlight a few of the systems that are new to our department that we've implemented. CompuClean was implemented almost 2 years ago. No, a year and a half ago. We had 2 summers with it. So CompuClean is our green cleaning, quality assurance, inventory, and employee training system. So it's a tool of many tools for our department that we've implemented. CompuClean is a complete cloud-based solution, so we don't burden IT with anything on their servers. We started utilizing the mobile app in September of 2022. So each custodian is able to either use their phone or their tablet to utilize this system for quality assurance. So what happens is on a daily, each head custodian at each school uses this app to walk at least 5 to 10 different locations on a daily basis to make sure that the night staff cleaned where it was supposed to clean, to check for any issues, if any issues arise, they can write that in the report. Immediately, that report gets sent to our department. I think it's by 8:30 a.m. We get a full report of every school. The superintendent also gets this report on a daily basis, and then the principal from each school gets a report of just their school. If there are any issues, our custodial supervisor then knows by 8:30 a.m. which school he needs to focus on and visit immediately. And he can also notify our trades and trade supervisor if they're needed for any issues that arise at the school. The reports are referenced during the school visits, and then they can also revise the report when any work is completed if needed. Next slide. Like I said, it's a mobile app. They can actually use it and capture images of things going on, before and after pictures if needed, of any work that was completed, add comments, what was inspected. They can track the quality of the corrective actions that were done by either custodial or trade staff, and they can log it in real time. So we see it in real time, they can log it in real time. Next slide. Quality assurance, as I discussed a little bit, they perform their own custom quality inspections, so they know where they're going to visit each day. It changes, like I said, on a daily basis. They can track their performance by the building, by their staff, and by our supervisors and trades. Document any issues and track the resolution and corrective actions. Next slide. This slide shows you just one of the reports that the system tracks for us. Anything in green means it's good to go. We use all green products, and this system is actually purchased through Spartan Green Systems. And as you can see in yellow, if there's anything, we can track how we fix that problem, and anything in red. Usually I don't see any reds on the reports, which is a good thing. Next slide. Besides the daily reporting, this is also our inventory system. So now the custodian can check if he's low on supplies, and he can order it through this system on his app, on his tablet. This helps us track the patterns of how much is used, how much is needed. We can forecast budgets for the rest of the school year if we see there's a trend in use of one particular supply, like toilet paper or tissues or hand sanitizer. The order from the custodian comes to us via a fax. It comes over the fax machine, I believe. I see it on the copier. And then we go through that order to see if, and audit it to see if they really need that supply. Maybe they didn't remember it's in the closet, or we have it in our warehouse. From there, our warehouse can distribute it directly to the school within 24 hours or the same day if needed. Next slide. The inventory management, this is just our monthly inventory audits. Like I said, it'll help us forecast the budget for the rest of the school year. They help to avoid any overbuying or overstocking of items. You know, during COVID, we had to overbuy because everybody needed to buy and couldn't find the supplies needed. But now this system helps us to know when we need to buy and what we already have on the shelves to distribute. Next slide. This is also our employee training portal. So every summer, all custodians are trained on this portal. Also, any new employee is immediately put onto the system and trained before entering a school, before they start their employment with us. So far, we've seen tremendous, I think it's helped us tremendously. I've seen everyone is happy with it. We have weekly reports that are reported on it. The fee for this is only $700 a year for the entire system. We think it helps our department.
The whole system.
And we're more efficient with it. And like I said, we buy less and have more on the shelves.
700. Oh.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'll open up the floor for any questions or comments. Mr. Benahan?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I know Mr. Garcia, he bring this, before committee this, and this is amazing because then you have a track, but sometimes we have issues before that the custodian needs something, they don't have it, they don't find it, take time to get it, the school is behind. But this situation is good, it's good, one part that you say, everyone's gonna have a training. It's very, very important. But sometimes you got staff, they say, I'm already here 20, 25 years, why do I need the training? Yeah. Guess what? Everything changed. I always say when the technology change, everything change, and it's good so the employee, the custodian understand you need to take this training. It's something mandatory so everybody be on the same page. And nobody can say, you never trained me in this. And I said, no, yes, you did because you signed this, you take that training. But it's good that you have a track, the budget is very important on how to order stuff. So it's no excuse if something happened in one of the school and the custodian never sent the report or made the job the way it's supposed to be. But this, you have a record that everything has to be correctly the way it is. And you say it's $700
a year. It was $600 last year. I had to revise. It was
$700 a year.
Sort of an invoice. It was $700 this year.
Listen, what is the best for the custodians and more easy for them, so other schools have good benefit, I'm okay with that. So I'm glad they bring this. Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It also tracks capital purchases and equipment. So the vacuums, the scrubbers. And we know when it has met its life.
And the good thing you said, like you can see why if the custodian orders something and you can say, listen, last month you ordered, let's say 20 cases of papers where, why you order more, where they are or something like that. And, and we retract, to be sure.
Sometimes it's a trend, the flu, the COVID. Mm-hmm. It was needed.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you. No more questions, Madam Chair.
Mr. Traber?
No comments, no questions.
Mr. Sokolovic?
Yeah, quick questions. Why the fax? Is
it comes over the copier machine. I believe
Is there incompatibility or something with our system?
No, the order forms are sent or generated on the computer. They are printed on the copying machine, which is also our fax machine.
Right, and it comes through.
And then the orders are pulled in the warehouse and delivered and signed for.
And as far as the onboarding for new employees, that'll give them immediate access to the MSDS and
yes.
All the training videos hosted on a different website or through that one?
Through CompuClean program.
And do they change them up? Because I've worked in maintenance for 28 years and every year it's the same exact video and it was like you stop listening at some point.
I think it changes if the product changes.
Well, dependent upon the areas, the courses, advanced disinfection, carpet care. So the employee watches the video and they take a little quiz at the end. So they do have to answer a few questions. So hopefully they paid attention.
Well, I memorized.
If they memorize that from multiple trainings, multiple sections.
Yeah, well, after 19, 20 years, I mean, I was looking at videos that were produced in the 80s at the end.
Well, I do believe as Spartan comes out with new chemicals, they're going to have new training videos. So maybe much of the same info, but, geared towards that specific product.
Okay, thank you. That's just idle curiosity.
I have just a comment. This this is the process you explained to me. I had the opportunity last April to tour the facilities, and I believe I was
Wow.
told about, yeah, I remember. I was told about this app and how it was being used. And so a lot of this was all deja vu with being able to audit, keep everything in track. So Bridgeport won't be one of the school districts where we purchase a $10,000 light bulb. With some, unlike other districts. So that's great. Two other questions. If a custodian doesn't complete the course, are they like given a friendly nudge they need to complete it before returning onto the work site, or?
Yes, they must complete all the courses, and we track that.
Okay.
That once a year, they must retake every class also, which perhaps could be boring, but they must retake them. And when the inspections are done, if the custodial supervisor at the building sees that the employee is lacking in a certain thing, such as office cleaning, we can request and make the employee retake the office training module.
Okay.
Therefore, kind of taking the corrective action if we need to take further disciplinary type of actions. It's documented that the employee took the training when they took it.
Okay.
Were retrained if necessary. And
hopefully the problem doesn't persist.
right.
Then, oh, wait, I have another question to follow up from. If the principal noticed an issue, this is the app that the principal used to inform the custodian if there's.
Yes, that is a part of it.
Okay. So for the public, again, I'm going off of my memory, but if there's an issue, a principal of one of our school buildings could be able to communicate an issue with the custodian so that can be rectified. And then my last question, with the building quality performance report, what does the yellow mean again? If it's
a lower grade.
Does that,
Right.
does that mean the custodian needs work in that school, or?
It he might have inspected something that the night staff works on or cleans, so he might have given it a score, a unsatisfactory score. So then he would speak with his night crew.
Oh, okay, so it's almost like an accountability factor.
Yes.
To it. Okay. Nice, okay. Mr. Benahan?
Yes, Madam Chair, I think I have 3 questions. One of them, with the custodian, they're gonna order something, has to be the same company. They cannot order something else. Let's see, you have, let's see, we mentioned, but you cannot order from Stable. It has to be that same company order. I'm not asking because the price.
The order comes to our department and is first.
Okay.
And then we place the orders for different supplies through different companies, depending on the contracts we have.
Thanks. And my second question, you said the staff had to take a test. They have to study first or to take the test, or they just be, they will have to see the video, and from the video is the one they're gonna take the test that same day?
Yeah, they watch the video and then have to answer a few questions.
It will be separate, or everybody's in the same room, together?
No, anyone can take it anytime. It's by computer.
Oh, okay.
So the custodian can just log in, whenever they would like, and go to the website.
Okay.
And take each training module. At the end of the module, there's a few questions to make sure they weren't asleep for the module.
Thanks. And the third one is about the language. I know some custodians, sometimes the English is a little difficult for them because coming from another country, they do an amazing job. I cannot compare about custodian. We got custodian, they're amazing, but the language, it will be the same language, or they can change, when they take the test in the computer, they can change that.
We have at least 4
Yeah,
languages.
there's definitely more than one language available.
Okay.
I believe we have
If they talk Portuguese or talk another language, they can change it, but at least they can answer the test.
Yes.
All right, thank you. No more question, Madam Chair, thank you.
Okay. Seeing that there's no more questions or comments, we're going to move to the next item on the agenda, which is a facility systems overview presentation.
That's the next. FMX, what is it? So some of you may have heard of it recently because we just implemented it at the beginning of this school year. Some portions of it are still a work in progress, but we're getting through it. And Penny at our office and Michael at our office have been working on it with the principals and the secretaries and the superintendent as needed. The first thing it does is maintenance requests. So this is our new work order system. So if something in the school needs attending to by one of our trades, the custodian will put in a work order into this system. He can use his phone, his tablet, to put it in through their website. The request comes to our department every morning. Every request is looked at. And before the tradesmen go to the schools they're going to work at, they're given the work orders, and some of them might be from the night before that were placed by the custodian. Do you usually distribute them, or Jose?
Jose normally does. They're assigned. And once Jose or myself clicks on it, the technician gets an email on their phone that this work order was assigned to you. And it's all live.
That's good.
So
You can also request our facilities for rental through this portal. So it's on our website. This is how we're doing permits for the school buildings now through FMX. And it tracks spending and capital forecasting. Next slide. So like we said, the maintenance requests come to our department. They're assigned. With this system, the tradesperson can track, and first off, they can take a before picture to show what the issue is. They can track what materials they purchased, how much it costs to repair the issue, and when it was completed. And it will show up in their email, I believe, as not completed until the project is completed. It'll be flagged. We can receive live updates from the technicians on the status of the request, as well as expected resolve date from them. Sometimes it might be because the part is on order, or we're waiting for a purchase order, or we need to bring in a contractor because it's a larger job. Next slide. With this, the tradesperson, if they go out to see the issue, if it looks or it is vandalism, we can track vandalism through this. So the technician will put in here his description that he believes it was vandalism, or it's general maintenance, or it's a new install of something, or just a simple repair. We can track the install dates on new equipment that were ordered. We can also, we haven't started this yet, but we can also have, is it a QR code for the piece of equipment? So we can scan that QR code and see the warranty, when it was purchased, the longevity of that piece of equipment. And, you know, what building it's in, and when it was installed and who installed it. Sometimes that information gets lost over the years, and we're forced to look back into our files to see when we purchased a part of a boiler or an actual boiler. Sometimes it's, you know, and sometimes those things are outdated and we can't find the part, or we search for it. When submitting, technicians must enter a resolution comment, total work hours, and any expenses on the material. So now we're able to see in real time how long it took that technician to work on that type of repair. So we know in the future it shouldn't take more than this many hours to work on that repair. So we're not handing out too many work orders to that single technician in one day, knowing that it might take longer for this repair versus another. Next slide. This is the new way to rent our buildings. So whether it's through a permit, through an activity report, through the athletics calendar, it will all now go into FMX. So it's all going to be on one calendar within this system. This will hopefully eliminate any double bookings. People will be able to see in advance that the school's not available, so they can maybe choose a different school or maybe coordinate with the activity that's already going on in that school for a different room. This helps free Penny up for Director Garcia. She spends a lot of time on permits and coordinating with the schools and athletics on what schools are available for which activities. Right now, we're just waiting for, I believe, the Grants and Business Office to finalize the activity reports. Right now, we're working off of 2 calendars, but eventually it's all going to be on this one calendar. And the athletic, I think it was arbitrator calendar, has already been integrated into FMX for us.
Yeah, the full athletic calendar is integrated.
Yeah, integrated. Once someone goes on here, it's a learning curve. Right now, some of the renters are still calling Penny and she's walking them through the process because this is a learning. But they'll be able to upload their insurance documents. If they're a nonprofit, they can upload their documents as well. So Penny's not calling them and asking them to send it to her through an email anymore. It'll be uploaded right to the system. Next slide. There's an approval process. So there are many approvers before the building is actually rented or the space is reserved for an activity. So it'll go through the building principal, custodial supervisor, security supervisor, schedule request administrator, which might be the principal or his or her designee, and then it'll come to Penny as one of the approvers. This way it'll eliminate, like I said, double bookings. They receive an email to let them know that they have to go into the system to approve it. So that also eliminates Penny calling people and making sure that this work is getting done. It goes right to their email. Once all levels of approval have been met, the event will then appear on the FMX calendar. Next slide. The FMX calendar is where you can find everything that is going on in all of the schools. So here you see things in blue with the wrench, the little wrench symbol, that's our work orders that are going on. Penny might have a renter and you see it in red all day. It might be an all day event there. The orange is the athletic calendar, I believe, and activity reports.
Orange is activities.
Yeah, activities, right? And
Yeah,
orange.
I don't see athletics on there.
Oh, not on this slide. Next slide. Reporting. With FMX reporting, we're able to run custom reports to track all spending. Through the work orders, we can track the spending by school. I haven't seen a report yet. We're hoping to be able to track it by commodity as well to see how much we're using, and also by trade. It can be tracked. So we know which trade has been at which school the most often for either vandalism, repairs, or maintenance. Next slide. These are our goals. I discussed the barcoding, the QR code. We hope to integrate that eventually into this. Like I said, we just started this new system at the beginning of the school year for work orders. The work orders have been going well. Now we're just working on integrating the activity reports in, and then we would like to get to the point where we can use this to track maintenance on equipment, especially for preventative maintenance. It'll help, instead of having all our paperwork in a file, it'll be right here, and we'll be able to, a click away, know, how to maybe plan for our capital expenses within just a click, instead of researching all of our documents over the years. The whole district can refer to for any and all activities. Working with the Department of Energy in Yukon, we hope to develop the 2 smart schools that we got a grant for, Johnson and Marin, to integrate this into our BMS system. So this would allow us eventually to turn on and off lights, controls for temperature, as well as lock doors. So we're hoping to pilot that with the grant through Yukon with and the Department of Energy at Johnson and Marin School. And that's it.
Thank you. Yep. Okay, I'll open up the floor. Mr. Benahan?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm asking this question because I know I really see it. And one of the custodians saying I need this repair, or I need this, but you guys say, no, you don't need it. It's not necessary. But the custodian keep saying, yes, we need to, what is going to be the process? You guys go personal to see it, or you would deny? Sometimes custodians, they can tell you, yes, we need it, because they're more there, they see what's going on. Now it's the same when you see by email or in picture. It's a little different when you go personal and you see the difference. Are you guys will be able to see, go personal and see what's going on?
So if it's something like temperature in a room,
yeah,
we might have access on our computer to control and see what the temperature is in that room. I think we had something happen like that today. So Mike is able to look and see what the actual temperature is in there. We might get a request, the room is freezing, but the temperature when we look it up on the computer is 72. And then the custodian is called to go to that specific room and take the temperature as well. And verify that the computer is correct, because technology isn't always correct.
Yeah.
And then we work from there on trying to rectify.
But that's included, that system included for the old schools too. We got school, they got so many years. They will read the temperature, in the room.
We're working on getting it in as many schools as we can right now through the ESSER grant.
Yeah, currently we have about half of our buildings on the same platform with the same control company. Most of that half, we can see individual room temperatures. Some of them we can only see if boilers or chillers are running.
Okay.
So it's,
And how many days in advance, like I see in the calendar, whoever need something in the calendar, how many days in advance had to take the staff, or whoever wanted you?
So I think for permits, it's 30 days.
Okay.
But Penny works with.
Yeah, correct. And that's actually because I know sometimes when the school, they do PAC or PTS or do meetings, they use the AR 100 or AR 200. They're gonna keep using that, or this is gonna be the system now that Penny, you're gonna put this in the calendar? No, the custodian.
We're currently working with FMX and Marlene Siegel's office to incorporate those into the FMX system, so that we don't do double bookings.
Yeah, okay.
Outside renter goes through FMX and the school continues through the AR 100s, 200s. We could potentially have double bookings.
Okay.
So we're working with FMX to develop that. So it will all be through FMX. It'll be very similar to Marlene's AR system, the way those work, but the information will be into the FMX, so we'll know exactly what classrooms are being used when, after regular school hours.
And I see in the calendar, they say the red is an all day and the blue one. What does mean the gray one? Is that the color, or because, I just want to be sure, because I know colors doesn't mean different something. Let's see in Bryan School, Reed School, the color, it's gray. So that means something
Right.
different, or?
I don't think it means something different.
Okay.
I'm not positive though. It has the wrench, so it looks like a work order.
Okay.
And Bryant School, room 105
Yeah.
needs. So maybe the gray is before they,
Yeah, I understand,
Maybe
like you said,
needed
one.
yeah,
versus work in progress.
Okay.
right.
Okay, I just wanted, because sometimes people want to know what does mean the color, so we can, the red, they say all day, this means nobody can use that, okay. Sound good. I very appreciate that, because this is more better with the custodian. Nobody, like you said, double booking, everybody know me the same page. Nobody can solve, nobody call me, nobody tell me this, nobody, what's going on. I never got this email, back and forth. With this, you have proof. Yeah, this is the process, and like you said, you have to do this 30 days in advance, so nobody have any issues. I really appreciate you guys. George Garcia and your team, guys, you do an amazing job. I cannot complain about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. No more question coming, Madam Chair. Thanks.
Mr. Sakalovic?
Yeah, just one quick question to follow up on something Mr. Benham asked. Does it in any way help you prioritize, or is prioritizing the jobs still just a human construct?
Still mostly human structure. Pending,
Order of magnitude.
Yeah, the tradesmen.
Safety.
Yes, the tradesmen also self-prioritize things. We allow them to, because they know, a dripping faucet versus a sink or extreme plumbing leak.
Okay, thank you.
Priorities change day by day, sometimes minute by minute.
Yes.
Mr. Traber?
Yeah, a couple of questions. So if I understood your percentage of schools, you said it was about half the schools that you could determine temperatures, either that some of them you could determine temperatures in the rooms, and some you could determine if the boilers were producing heat. So that means that more than half the schools we can't do either. Right, so is there any plan to improve that, or is that just when we get there, we're gonna get there? Or is that what we're gonna figure out with the facilities plan?
So it's a work in progress. It's costly to add this to each school, and sometimes there's construction involved to put the different controls in. So through the ESSER grant, we've been working on that with our newer systems. And with school construction, it's automatically in the design
Right.
of a new school. Right. Some of the older schools don't have it.
I'm a retired teacher from Blackham, so that's why that's the context in which I ask a question like that.
So that way we would go old school, and the custodian would put in a work order, and the tradesperson would be traveling to that school that day.
And that leads to my next question, which is, you said the custodian puts in the work orders. If a teacher's got a problem in a room, you're saying the teacher goes to the custodian, or does the teacher go to the administrator?
The teacher should go to the head custodian of the building. They are the representative of the facilities department at that building.
The head custodian.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was getting at, was whether you go to the administrator or the head custodian or the custodian you see more often at night. So it just depends. And then this is just a quirky question. I know a retired teacher who lives in Black Rock who occasionally sends me pictures of Black Rock School with the lights on at night. Will this get addressed? That's a relatively new school in construction, but would this system deal with something like that?
This system will not. Black Rock is not a new school. It's an ancient school with a new addition.
New work done.
So,
I was asking.
which building you're talking about, and
The Black Rock School had the whole new wing put on. That's why I was asking whether or not it involved any other upgrades.
correct. The lighting in the new wing should be controlled by occupancy sensors in the rooms. The old building was not touched with the construction, so
Okay,
it probably has no automatic lighting controls.
some cases it's the old building. In other cases, he's actually sent me pictures of the gym being on at night with nobody in the building.
Okay, well, there's probably not occupancy sensors in the gym area, and then it would be human error that someone didn't turn the lights off.
Okay. That's it. No more questions.
I have a few silly questions. Are we out of the beta testing phase for FMX and now we're still in like?
We're
We're utilizing
100% utilizing it. There's no other system running in the background.
Got it. Then from the perspective of organizations renting our facilities, are other notices sent out? So if okay, I have my boys empowerment group and I'm going to use a high school and I've done all the paperwork. Are there notices about fees or any other changes or any other communication sent out through FMX?
Yes, all communication is through FMX. The organization has to create an account, so it needs an email in FMX. Then they request the space wanted, provided it's available, and then the fee structure will come up through FMX, and the certificates of insurance and other things would need to be put into FMX before then it goes to the list of, I think it's the 4 approvers in order, and I think there may be more than that. And each approver has to approve, because obviously we got to make sure there's no construction going on, that the school will be open. Security has to take their into consideration the events, and all I believe at probably every approval level or step, emails are sent to communicate.
Okay. And then my only other questions, we mentioned about the various different types of tracking. Will we be able to do like an organizational track? So we can say like this organization is using our schools and probably trying to use it like 90% of the time or anything like that, or we could kind of cull the information as to these are the largest nonprofits or the most frequent nonprofits that use our facilities.
Yeah, I'm quite sure we could run a report of by organization, how much space, which buildings or how much space, and probably how many hours they are utilizing the buildings.
Oh, that's cool. It's really interesting. Okay. Mr. Benahan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question is good. This one is separate, or they include the same price what the first one you present?
No, this one is separate.
Separate, how much money we're talking about?
So the work order system is comparable to the old work order system we had. It's about $25,000 a year.
25,000 a year.
And then to add the permitting portion of it, I believe that was an extra 10. per year.
And then I'll interject. This came for full approval to the
Yeah,
board.
no. I just want to know.
The pricing.
Yeah, that's all right. Thank you. I just want to know that. Thank you.
Mr. Sokolovic?
Yeah, one question about the older buildings, Mr. Travers' question made me think of it. About how long is the return on investment to put in like the smart lighting and such?
That I can't speak to with per building. To retrofit the buildings for HVAC controls is the newer buildings, about $500,000 a building. So the older buildings would be much more
Right,
to, fully automate everything in the buildings.
right, because as we do, the
And
reason
it's
I
not-
ask is because as we develop master plan, some of these buildings may be accessed, so it might not be wise to retrofit these buildings because we'll never see the return on those investments and maybe the money could be better utilized elsewhere.
Correct, and that's where a master plan would help the facilities department as to what buildings to potentially upgrade.
Yeah,
The controls.
$500,000 on power bills, $50,000 savings a year, that's 10 years, 100,000 savings a year is 5 years, and depending upon the timeline is whether we get that money, return on that investment.
Correct. We try to take that into account.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you so much for presenting. Our last item on the agenda is adjournment, so I can entertain a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. The meeting has adjourned. The time now is 7:43 PM. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone. God bless you all.
Good night. Yes, sir.
You bring my meeting to me.